Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Homan,
family.
with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum,
You know, Mr. Chair, I was looking, how did we get to this point? How did we get to
Welcome back. Today, we're breaking down one of the most shocking U.S. policies in recent memory, the Trump administration's zero-tolerance policy and the family separations at the border. This wasn't just another political controversy, it was a humanitarian crisis that horrified people across the spectrum. We're cutting through the noise to explain what happened, why, and who was responsible. In 10 key points, we'll show how a government policy turned children into bargaining chips. We'll look at the facts, the memos, and the real human cost. It's not easy to watch, but it's necessary. This is about power, accountability, and a moment when the government crossed a line. Let's get into it. In April
Did we
2018,
get to this point where we take children out of mothers' and fathers' arms? And, it dated back, family separation in the way that we have seen it, where we take children away from their parents without due process, began last year under Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen, but I had to dig further, and our staff dug further. But where did this start within the administration? She implemented it, and we found a memo. It dates back to April 23rd of 2018, where there was an official recommendation to, quote, pursue prosecution of all amenable adults who cross our border, quote, illegally, even though this applied to legal asylum seekers in practice, including those presenting with a family unit between ports of entry in coordination with DOJ. Here is the memo that I would like to submit to the congressional
2018, Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced that every adult crossing the U.S.-Mexico border without authorization would be criminally prosecuted, no exceptions. This was a dramatic shift from previous policies, turning a civil issue into a federal crime for everyone, regardless of their circumstances. The goal? Deterrence. The administration believed that by prosecuting everyone and separating families, they'd scare others from coming. The cruelty wasn't accidental, it was the point. When parents were prosecuted, their children couldn't go to federal jail, so they were taken away. Kids were sent to shelters or foster care, often far from their parents. The system for...
And so I looked at this memo, and it seems like this is the source of it. And it seems as though, Mr. Homan, that you are the author. It says here from yourself, Kevin Michalinen, and Francis Cisna. Is this correct? Did you sign the memo?
I'd have to see what you...
I'd be happy to provide it. And we'll provide it over, but I would like to note that here it says the official recommendation. There were 3 different options presented. The third included the option for family separation. This initiative would pursue prosecution of all amenable adults, including those presenting with a family unit. Mr. Homan, your name is on this, is this correct?
Yes, I signed that memo.
So you are the author of the family separation policy?
I am not the author of this memo.
You're not the author, but you signed the memo.
Yes, a zero tolerance memo.
So you...
The system for tracking families was a disaster, making reunification nearly impossible. The public reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Images and audio of crying children dominated headlines worldwide. Religious leaders, former first ladies, doctors, and even the Pope condemned the policy. For once, outrage was nearly universal. Seeking asylum is legal under U.S. and international law, but zero tolerance made no distinction. Everyone was prosecuted, even those fleeing violence. Many asylum seekers faced an impossible choice: wait in danger or cross and risk losing their children. Officials compared family separation to a DUI arrest, but critics pointed out the obvious. These were families fleeing danger, not criminals. The analogy fell apart. Here, separation was the punishment, not a child's protection.
Provided the official recommendation to Secretary Nielsen on for the United States to pursue family separation.
I gave Secretary Nielsen numerous recommendations on how to secure the border and save lives.
But it says here that you gave her numerous options, but the recommendation was option 3, family separation.
What I'm saying, this is not the only paper where we've given the Secretary numerous options to secure the border and save lives.
And so the recommendation, of the many that you recommended family separation,
I recommended zero tolerance.
which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Homan,
family.
with all due respect,
Protection. A leaked April 23, 2018 memo revealed family separation was a deliberate, documented option, not an accident. The memo explicitly recommended prosecuting parents and separating families as a tool of enforcement. It was a clear, premeditated strategy. Top officials, including Thomas Homan and leaders from key immigration agencies, signed off on the memo. This was a coordinated decision at the highest levels, not the work of a rogue official. DHS Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen made the policy official, then publicly denied family separation existed, even as the memo proved otherwise. Her denials were contradicted by the evidence. The policy was implemented with full knowledge of its consequences. Public outrage forced the administration to back down, but reunifying families was chaotic and incomplete. Hundreds of children remain separated to this day. The trauma inflicted is lasting, a permanent stain on the nation's conscience. Zero tolerance was a deliberate, documented policy that used children as leverage, causing massive harm. The facts are clear. The question now is accountability. What should happen when officials cross this line? Let us know your thoughts below.